Okay, tomorrow I'll be seeing Halloween End, so I'd like to discuss the modern films a little. A technical quadrilogy because 2018 was a sequel to the original, and it should have had another name other than Halloween. This was a boneheaded naming choice. This film I loved when it first came out. It was in my top three favorite Halloween films. And after getting it on video and seeing it a few more times, it's moved itself somewhere comfortably in the middle. Once you get up past the movie was great with a chilling opening and an awesome title sequence, and it was great to see Michael back. But once you get that, yay, Michael's back out of your system and watch the movie, it does have glaring problems like pacing issues, just some characters I absolutely hated, and just weird choices. Not that it was bad, but I felt it was held back by true greatness, and it feels like that's gonna be the modern three films in a nutshell. There were characters that made stupid decisions, even behind the scenes, like, and I know I've ranted on this before, but Jamie Lee Curtis wanting to make sure all the weapons she used are quote unquote self defense weapons. So her character had a lot of slow to reload weapons or lever action rifles. Jamie, I have no illusion you're watching this, and I know you spent a lot of time in Hollywood drinking the Kool-Aid, but let me explain something to you. A self defense weapon is any weapon you defend yourself against an attacker with. Like I said, really, you should have had like AR 15s and stuff like that, not revolver, 6 shots, let me empty it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. By the time you reload it, Michael's on you. Now, one thing I like that this film did do was there was a scene where and I've heard it criticized because the movie just does what the character mentions when he says, with all that's going on in the world today, one guy killing people with a knife isn't that bad. And they go, well, that's what the movie went on to do. And I do think that was kind of the point. It was saying, even with the world and all the things going on in the world nowadays, yeah, that one guy with a knife might not seem that bad in the grand scheme of things, but when it's happening to you, it is that bad. There was a psychiatrist who was a bad, just bad character, in the twist with him that he actually let Michael out was stupid. I like that it dealt with Laurie's trauma, but they couldn't make up their mind whether they wanted another H2O style traumatized Laurie or a kick butt prepper Laurie, so they decided, let's do both, and they didn't do either one really well. Still, the film had a lot of promise for the future, and Michael was back, and there's kind of been a new slasher renaissance since this film. Halloween Kills, I still can't make up my mind how I feel about this movie. Sometimes I'll like it, sometimes I won't like it. It's all over the place. It picks up right after the first movie. There's some neat things like the woman showing off the graveyard. She sees Michael in 2018. She gets killed in this one, and I like the idea that just to see Michael is kind of a death curse in and of itself. It was a very interesting thing. I don't know if it was intentional, and we even see a few characters get some spotlight that were just in the background. We have returning legacy characters and some actors, and a few of them, which granted with Charles Cypress, who played Lee Brackett, his age, how much are you going to expect him to do? I still feel he was wasted. The fact that we didn't have one scene with Lee Brackett and Laurie Strode was a inexcusably missed opportunity. We had a great flashback scene, and there was always something in the flashback scene that bugged me about the mask. And it was a video I seen recently. I can't even remember the name of it, but points out why. The original mask was an off-the-shelf mask. This mask was custom made to fit the actor, so it had a more tight fit, where the original mask had a loose fit in it. Like, yeah, that's why that mask just didn't look right to me, and it hit. But we see things like Lonnie, who was a small side character in the first movie, who bullied Tommy Wallace, or not Tommy Wallace. Well, just call him Tommy. But he was getting bullied himself, which I thought was a needless twist. And other than that, the flashback was cool. The directors said things that do make me worry for ends, like that the radio tower that was shown prominently in the flashback of the kills, which you don't see a radio tower in the first one, actually has something important to do with the overarching plot. Jamie Lee Curtis even said the plot for ends is going to make people mad. Now, I addressed it before, but I do want to address one of the biggest criticisms I hear for this movie, and that's the angry mob and how repetitively they chant, "Evil dies tonight." Do none of you remember 2020? And this isn't a political statement about the riots, protests, or whatever you want to side of the aisle and what you want to call them are, but do you remember BLM and the chant of "no justice, no peace" being repeated ad nauseum? There was a rally that went through my town that year, and all they did was walk through the town nonstop: "No justice, no peace, no justice, no peace." Nothing else. That's all they would say. So why is a phrase like "evil dies tonight" getting picked up so out there and hard to believe it would happen when we seen it unfold on the news for an entire summer? That being said, the one thing I like this did was it kind of gets us, this movie got us rooting for the angry mob. And then one of the escaped mental patients, who they think is Michael, winds up jumping and killing himself. This movie, despite what you want to say about it, has a very poignant message about the danger of an angry mob, and it makes you, the audience who is cheering them on, complicit in the death of this character. That was a great touch, and especially after what happened in 2020, it was a poignant scene that really hit home. So when these films do something great, they do something great, and despite how derided that scene is, I like what it was saying. Maybe it could have been handled better. We just have Michael seemingly killing at random, and the kills in this feel more like they should be in a Friday the 13th movie. Some of them are so over the top. He actually surpassed Jason's body kill count with this film, unless you count fan films, which I do, and then Jason still reigns supreme, but that's not here or there. And it's a quest back to the Myers house where two people are actually living. Michael kills them, and we get a great final showdown where the mob beats the daylights out of him. And it shows, again, another scene that's derided is there was a lady who brought an iron, and it's like, they talk about how stupid that was, and it's like, again, have you not watched the news in 2020? Did you forget how stupid an angry mob can be, and that a group of people like that won't make the best decisions? One good thing is Karen was a much better character in this film, where Karen in this one, Laurie's daughter, was one of the characters I hated the most. I wanted her dead. She actually gets killed in this one, and it kind of took me back for a second. Don't get me wrong, I still like the fact that she died in this movie, but she had redeemed herself. So it was like, it wasn't the God, she's finally gone. It was more, I was just starting to like her too. Overall, I don't know, especially without seeing ends, where this new series trilogy, really quadrilogy if you count the original film, how it's gonna play out. Was removing the brother sister twist really a good move? I don't think we'll truly have the final answer till after this film. I feel like overall this has been a mediocre reboot series, but it has its great moments. I feel like the writing needed more refinement. This really isn't a review, it's more of a retrospective. When I do my review of Ends, it will be the same way with Kills. Not gonna rate the film because I'm gonna have to let it settle before I rate it, because of the track record with really liking the films when I see them, and then after it settles and seeing it a few times, like, my opinion changes. So it's still going to be great to see Michael on the big screen again. I hope they do something interesting, and I'm hoping the radio tower is just where a major scene is going to take place, and preferably, and I hope Laurie, when she says it's going to Jamie Lee Curtis, when she says this movie's going to make people mad, I hope she's referring to Laurie Strode getting killed, because I would still like to see the ending I wanted to see for this film, where Laurie kills Michael, but in the process, Michael stabs her fatally and they die by each other's hands. But I just wanted to do a little retrospective about these films before the new one comes out. So like, share, comment, subscribe. Tomorrow I'll be releasing my initial reaction. I'll record it as soon as I get out of the theater. Over and out.